You're smart, respected, and capable. But when it's time to decide, your mind spins in circles. Is this the right path? Should I do this or should I do that? What if I fail? What if this backfires? What will people think? And that fear keeps you stuck in overthinking. And instead of leading your life and your team with clarity, you stop in doubt and you lose out on so much. Today, I'll show you how to flip one of the biggest root causes of overthinking, which is the fear of failure. I'll share a story of a founder, and I'll also share wisdom from the Bhagavad Gita, where even Arjuna was paralyzed by overthinking before the war. I'm Namita Purohit, a leadership and life coach. This is the Lead with Ease podcast, where we explore emotional mastery, leadership, and healing toxic patterns together. As high achievers, we often tie our sense of worth in getting everything right. But the truth is, you will make wrong decisions. You will fail sometimes. Now, think about when you took a long time to think about something. You thought through all the pros and cons, you did everything perfectly, you got all the data. And as you executed on that decision, something still went wrong and you weren't able to be successful. Now, the real problem isn't failure itself, because failure is going to happen because there will be so many things that are going to be out of our control. And other high achievers recognize the risk you've taken, recognize the effort you're making, because they know that every decision is going to be plagued with failures too. So they're not judging you for the failure, they're appreciating you for the courage, for the effort that you put. So the problem isn't failure itself. The problem is the inner script that says, if I fail, I'm not good enough, where we tie our worth to getting everything right. And that script keeps you stuck in mental loops of overthinking, where you're not able to decide and not able to take action. And there's also something called as disasterization. There will be failures, and a lot of us get paralyzed thinking that, oh, what if this failure happens? And we treat it like a massive, massive, massive disaster, because that's how, probably as we were growing up, whenever we failed at something, maybe we were scolded at pretty badly. Maybe, when we were kids, we didn't know how to handle our failures really well, and everything seemed a disaster because we were kids and we didn't have the resources to manage our own emotions and manage, how to work around things. So we still carried that same emotion into adulthood of that, oh no, if a failure happens, it's going to be a massive disaster. So every this fear that we have, we end up dialing it up to 100. The reaction that we have to a failure, things not working right or working well, is at 100. It's almost like as if the entire house is burning down. But instead of having such a full-fledged disasterization in our head, we could also dial down our reaction. So these two things, where we tie our worth to getting everything right, and this disasterization, where we have such a humongous reaction to anything that goes wrong, and the way we berate ourselves and the way we treat ourselves when we make a mistake, uh, causes us to be paralyzed, causes us to be overthinking, and causes us to, we're unable to make any decisions. Now, this episode is brought to you by the Self Mastery Program, the Self Mastery Academy membership for leaders and high achievers, where I help you break free from overthinking, self doubt, and guide you to lead with clarity. The link is below if you'd like to learn more on how you can work on the 6 different areas of your life and, become have that self mastery and inner mastery that you need as a leader. Now, how do you flip this script? How do you flip this script of overthinking? What you really need to do is you need to rewrite that inner script. And I put some examples here for you. Now, from I must get this right, and it has to be perfect, we want to shift our thinking to change that inner script to every decision will teach me something. From I can't afford to fail, it's going to be a massive disaster. The script needs to be failure is feedback. It's going to sharpen me. And it's not going to be a massive disaster. And whatever happens, I'll manage it. I'll manage it properly. From if I fail, I'm not good enough, to changing your script to no decision is perfect and failures will happen. I rather decide, fail forward, and learn from how things go. Now, this flipping of the script, and at ease and as a coach, we when we are helping our clients flip the script, it needs to be done at various levels. It needs to be done not just at the logical level where you're changing how you think and you're reminding yourself of the new way of thinking, and also telling yourself that this old script is keeping you stuck, it's not helping you make progress. But there's also a memory release of maybe some past incidents where you made a decision and there was a failure. You didn't know how to manage it well, you didn't know how to manage your emotions well, so that's something you need to you need to also work upon. Like I once coached a startup founder who had everything going for him. He had the funding, he had a solid product, and he had a talented team, but he was stuck because every decision, and as a founder, you got to make so many decisions where you don't know what you're doing. Now, every decision, felt like a life or death call because he was also responsible for the funding that he got from the VC. Now, what if this feature fails? What if the investors lose faith? What if my reputation takes a hit? And over a period of time in that startup atmosphere, his fear of getting it wrong, it caught him in endless analysis, and he wasn't able to work with speed. He wasn't able to lead his organization, lead the development with speed. And many weeks would go by, and the team was starting to lose momentum because everything was getting stuck with him because of his fear of failure and that overthinking that came with it. Now, when we worked together, uh, I worked with him to flip his inner script from I must get this right to asking what's the next best step and what can I learn even if this fails and how can I contain the failure. And to work on that, as I said, we worked on not just the logic of yes, I need to have a different script, but also working on the past memories and changing his relationship with those past memories of failure. So that's called memory release. And then there was also emotion release because there were a lot of emotions around this inner script. I must get this right. And, emotions around what if things fail. And there were like very strong emotions in his body that we had to release around so that we could make this shift from this old way of thinking to the new way of thinking. And also strengthening and like all of these old ways of thinking, they sit in your body, in your chakras, in your energy system, in your prana kosha, in your pranic body, your energy body. So, also helping him release all of that old energy and strengthening his chakras and strengthening his energy so that he could walk this new way of being, which is what's the next best step? What can I learn even if this fails? So, it requires a whole being change. And we helped him do that so that he could start thinking differently and acting differently. Now, this one small shift, which we were able to achieve and track and make it permanent in him in 3 months, that small shift freed him, and he started making decisions faster. Some were wrong, yes, but each one gave him data, confidence, and traction. And it also made the VCs happy. It also made the team happy because the team wanted someone who could take those risks, who could use their energy, who could take them ahead, and who could learn from the failures, and who could, again, steer the organization in the right direction, steer that company in the right direction. And the team loved it, the VCs loved it, etc. So he was actually amazed that, even if there were a lot of things that were not working right, but the very fact that there was momentum, there was action, was being appreciated so much, right, from all the different stakeholders. And if you're looking to also, work on yourself, we have different programs here for you. But before I get into the next example here of Krishna and Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, I also wanted to share with you that I've also created this personal power bracelet. with the red jade, the tiger's eye, and the black onyx to help people, help leaders like yourself strengthen your root chakra and strengthen your solar plexus, and also protect yourself from any negative energies, self-created or coming from the outside. So this is another support tool that you could have as you're flipping the script, because this will help you strengthen your chakras and clear your energy. Now, even Arjuna, one of history's greatest warriors and archers, was paralyzed before the battle of Kurukshetra. And it's that chapter where he's expressing his grief is actually called as Arjuna Vishada Yoga. Arjuna is in depression, and he's wondering, like, is this the right step to take? Am I doing the right thing? My loved ones will suffer. I'm going against my gurus. uh what if this will bring so much dishonor, so much disrepute? Is this the right thing to do? He was just so overwhelmed with that overthinking that his body wasn't functioning. And that happens to us a lot too, where we're paralyzed with our thoughts, where his body wasn't functioning, his hair was standing on end, his Gandiva, his bow, was slipping from his hand. Something that he had vowed he would never let go from his hand was slipping from his hand, his bow. And his fear, and this overthinking and that self judgment kept him stuck in overthinking and unable to come out of that loop, because he was thinking about himself and he was not able to think about his greater duty in that situation. So, a lot of times, overthinking also happens when it's connected to our own ego, because this whole sense of failure, sense of reputation is all connected to our sense of ego. It's not connected to a sense of duty. And Krishna reminded him that you have a right to perform your duty, but you don't have a right to the results. And you do not have to be disturbed by honor or dishonor, praise or blame, success or failure. Your job is to do your duty. So, in other words, even from the Bhagavad Gita, it's about stop overthinking outcomes. Root yourself in your values, in your duty, what your role is, and do what's right, and have the confidence, act from an adult space, that I will be able to handle the failure. I will be able to handle the emotions, my emotions, team's emotions, stakeholder emotions, and I'll be able to learn from it and move ahead. Of course, we take calculated risks and make calculated decisions, but um, we decide to fail forward instead of remaining stuck in our overthinking. And that's where all this clarity is going to come from. So, overthinking does not mean that you're broken. It's probably also means that you're alone or you don't have a support team whom you could think with and ideate with together. And it also means that you care. You care about what you're doing and you care about the outcomes. And as long as you can separate your ego from it and care about the outcomes from a sense of duty, you won't be overthinking. You will be making progress really fast. And all this caring doesn't have to come at the cost of your clarity about your decisions and what you need to do. So when you let go of needing to be perfect and you embrace learning through both success and failure, you free yourself from the mental loop. And as Krishna has already shared what Krishna has guided Arjuna, which is to act from duty and not from fear of results. And that's how you stop overthinking and you lead with clarity. Now, if this spoke to you, subscribe for more videos on leadership, inner mastery, and healing toxic patterns. And check the links below if you're looking for, if you prefer high touch one-on-one support for very focused 3 months of where we focus on one outcome, one habit, and making that permanent and changing that one inner script in you. Or you prefer for a longer term, longer duration of work for a year or so, and every year to have a sounding board and thought partner and coach. You could join private one-on-one coaching with me. The link is below. And if you prefer self paced, then I invite you to join the Self Mastery Academy, which is also the sponsor for this podcast today. And there's also a free guide which you can download, which is called as the Bold Leadership Journal, which has 8 reflective prompts to help you analyze yourself and identify the areas that are working well and identify the areas where you need to work in order to be bold and fearless.